Okay, so so now the approach that we're going to be taking is slightly different. I'm going to use ChatGPT, start a new query, and I'm just going to give it a prompt saying, "Hi, I would ask you to be to act as a programming assistant." You are an expert in the Go. Alright, so this is my starter prompt. So say give it a role, give it some additional text to give it context, and I read somewhere, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, that by using expertise or experience, etc., that makes it better somehow. I'm not sure whether it works or not, but no harm done. And then this is the actual task, right? And then, of course, I like to be polite, even though I'm talking to a machine. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, I'm going to say yes. Now, I'm not going to delve straight into it. I'm going to give it a bit more context. Right. So, I find that it is that ChatGPT can go off the rails a little bit in my experiment so far, and I think it's best to give it like a structured area and then specifically say, hey, okay, this little area here, this is where I want you to play, and that prevents it from going off the rails or being too quote unquote creative. So. Firstly, I have written a starter script in Go, and I would like you to pay attention specifically to the following, right? And then I'm just gonna paste the Go and paste the entire file here, but then go back to instructions, and I'll say one take note of the dependencies. Assume that these have already been installed via go get, because otherwise it'll just give me boilerplate instructions for go get. Now the next thing I'm going to do is yes, take note of the comment. This is where I would like you to add the code that you generate, please. 3, do not emphasize, do not give me the full code listing for this file. Instead, All right. So take a note of dependencies. I'm specifically highlighting that we want to use Hedera SDK Go, and it's already installed. So skip the craft, the boilerplate instructions around that, and then also go.env, which is being used here already. Hang on, I noticed something. I do not want that. That's going to confuse it, so I better get rid of it from here as well. Right, and so then this is boilerplate, .env file parsing instructions, and then setting up the client. And so this is just giving it some context. Right, and then this part here is saying, okay, so only add code in this section, right? And then finally, do not give me the full code listing, right? I just only want you to give me the parts that need to change, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And I find that, and the reason for this is if you ask it to give you the full code listing, sometimes it just types the file out halfway, and then it stalls, like it just has the cursor blinking for a long time, doesn't do anything, and then you have to cancel it and try again. And I find that even if it just does this, and then after that ignores the instruction and still prints a full listing anyway, at least I've got this, and I don't have to wait for it to do all of the other stuff, right? And of course, if you only highlight the parts that need to change, because this process is going to be iterative, that actually helps me to more easily debug its output. Okay, so it's saying understood, and please give me the file that you want. And so I think it is, do I have anything else I want to do? Yes, I do want to give it one final instruction. One additional instruction is that the JavaScript code makes use of EthersJs, and I do not want you to translate that directly. Instead, I would like you to make use Hedera SDK's native methods instead. For contract deployment, make use of. And so this is the one that I was looking up earlier on. So this is one contract execute transaction. Okay, so it says okay, and I am finally ready to have given it all the preamble and all the context, and so hopefully this will just work. Now, I don't think it needs that. Back to okay, so this is a pretty good breakdown. It loads the ABI and bytecode from files, deploys a smart contract, writes some data to the smart contract, and reads some data from the smart contract. Okay, so it's kind of ignored everything and the basic instruction and gone ahead and written the full file instead, but at least it got some preamble and gave me some line numbers, which not particularly useful because I wanted it to refer to line numbers in this file or line numbers in this file, but it looks like it hasn't gone and done that. Alright, so I guess I'll start from here. So read ABI, deploy smart contract, and read from smart contract, and then finally we get to find.close. Okay, so that's the part that we need. Alright, so save that. So ABI and error. Okay, so I encountered the same error before in HFS files. Rather than get it to fix, I'm just going to right. So this is the one that I want. Right, so it just needs to be os.read file. That's it. Okay. Okay, so for deploy transaction, it's just going to put in a file ID, but then I can predict that this is going to be a problem because it needs to use HFS to put the EVM bytecode as a file and then get the file back. So it clearly has missed that or forgotten about that. The rest of it looks more or less okay. Alright, so let's tell ChatGPT to do its thing. Thanks. In the All right. Okay, so again, it has ignored my initial instruction. This is pretty typical for ChatGPT, actually. It doesn't really have the full context. So basically, what I really want is just it to output this one. This lines of code here. So upload bytecode to HFS. So bytecode file ID is over here, and then it should use bytecode file ID over here, like so. All right. Okay, so then now it says changes made. Okay, great. So I think that is okay. So now what I'll do is let's run it and see what happens. Okay, API is declared and not used. Oh yeah, that's right. So we don't need API at all, because we're not using it, right? We're using it via the SDK methods instead, rather than EthersJs. So EthersJs needs to know what the API is, whereas with the SDK you've got a different approach which doesn't even use the API. It just when you interact with the methods, you simply name the methods manually, and the parameters manually as well. So that's how it works. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so I need to copy the smart contract over here and then run salty.js on it. Let's go to the tutorial, the actual HSTS tutorial, the smart contract, and find the part where we've got the stability code. Right, and then we need to run salty.js. Let's see if I have got it here somewhere. I'll open it in a new tab since I want to keep this one open. My contract.sol. Right. And then in here, file my con. All right. Now salty.js is this line of code. Okay, cool. So now I've got my contract.sol, I've got the API, and I've got the bin, and now I should be able to run the file. Go run. Okay, looks like it's getting further this time. Okay, contract uploaded successfully, contract executed, great results as expected, everything's great. All right, awesome.